in-laws, Miss Ellen and Mr. Roosevelt. Even around church, people ask me, such and such, and I say, "Oh, Mr. Roosevelt," and they're like, "Who?" Mr. Roosevelt. And then the same thing for Miss Ellen as well. And it's just kind of hard to call him anything else. I've been calling him that since I was 5 years old. So it's kind of hard to say anything else. So I just want to wish my father-in-law a happy birthday. He is truly only thing I can say is that's a real man. Um, he is a man. He can do anything and everything. And if he can't do it right now, get back to him tomorrow. He'll do it then. Um, he is truly the only other person that I know besides my father that you can ask anything and he can tell you the answer to. And in the absence of my father, I look to him quite often because it's the same wisdom. I mean, I don't know if it's because of that era or I don't know what it is, but he has that, and he has actually become my father in the absence of my father, who passed away some years ago. So, Mr. Roosevelt, I love you so much. I love you just like a daddy, because that's what you are. And I thank you so much for just inviting me and allowing me to share your family and your son. You raised a good son right here.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand has provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Summer and winter, springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above, join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy, and love. Pardon for sin and peace that endureth, thy own dear presence to cheer and to guide, strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. Blessings all mine with 10,000 beside. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand has provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand has provided. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, Lord, unto me. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand has provided. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Unto me. Unto me. Unto me.
I'm the oldest. I want to ask my family, my wife and Caleb and Candace and Andrew. Isn't she beautiful? I was the first one to get married, so we've been married longer than all y'all. And this is my youngest. The biggest is my youngest. And this is my daughter and her husband. And earlier on the video, you saw the Navy. That was my oldest son. Okay. So this is my group. I want to first, my daughter's going to sing, and I want to let her sing first before I have my comment, because Doc, that ain't gonna happen, Doc. Boy, I'm telling you, that ain't gonna happen. I'm sorry. Come on over here. But cousin Vic, I wanna say a special thank you to you, man. You just anytime we call, man, you always there. Well, we just appreciate you so much. And said something last night. He was looking at some of those pictures of me as a little boy. He said, "That's back when Troy was always crying." Boy, I ain't stopped crying. I got this rag. I wring it now, boy. It just run over. I still crying. But I got something to cry for. When I think of the goodness of Jesus and all he done for me, and my heart is just full, because I'm blessed. And I know I'm blessed. I had a praying grandmama. I had a granddaddy that loved me and spoiled me. He spoiled me during the day, and my daddy came home and spoiled me at night. So before I get caught up, I'm gonna let my daughter sing. Huh? You'll say something with me. You come back up with me. I'm gonna let her sing, and then she gonna say, now, Caleb, them in here. Do you want to sing or say something? Do anything? He won't do nothing. He always just sit in the background and just be the bodyguard. See, ever since he was 5, 6 years old, he said, "Dad, I'm gonna be a cop, be an officer." So I said, "Okay, son, that's what you do." So he always just stand back and kind of watch things. It's my deacon. It's all, y'all know where it come from. It all come down. So that's just from him. But I ain't gonna get in all of that. I'm gonna give this mic to my daughter, and we gonna sit down, and then me and my wife gonna come back up, and we gonna have. I got a lot to say. I got a lot to say.
Over and lose your soul at last. I know that my Redeemer lives. Oh, I know that my Redeemer lives. Oh, I know that my Redeemer lives. So please don't let this harvest pass. Oh, sinner, oh, see that cruel tree. Oh, sinner, oh, see that cruel tree. Oh, see, sinner, oh, see that cruel tree. See where Jesus died for you and me. Oh my God, he's a mighty man of war. Oh my God, he's a mighty man of war. Oh my God, he's a mighty man of war. Oh, sinner, don't let this harvest pass. Sinner, don't let this harvest pass. Oh, sinner, don't let this harvest pass. Sinner, don't let this harvest pass. Don't die and lose your soul at last.
I can hear my grandma right now saying, "Oh, glory." She'll be saying, "Oh, glory." Thank you. That's how she said it. She said, "Thank you." And that's how I'm going to say, "Thank you." I ain't going to preach. I ain't going to preach 'cause I can't preach. I ain't going to preach. I'm going to give this to my wife and let her say what she have to say, and then I'm going to say what I have to say.
God bless you. I don't really have much to say. I just want to wish my father-in-law a happy birthday and to tell everyone that I'm a living witness, that I don't know what they put in that tea. I tell you, I've been struggling with blood pressure, real bad high blood pressure, 3 medications, back and forth to the ER, all kind of IVs. And they made me up some tea. I don't know what was in it, but I was on it for 2 weeks, and my pressure has been low. Lower than I've ever seen it in years. So whatever they put in that tea, I'm a living witness. It works.
Amen. I had to stand over and make her take it. Say, "Harry, take this tea. Drink this." My dad said, "Drink this. This is going to get that pressure down." And she did it, and I tell you what, it has been low. And I thank God for it. Where do I start? As I said before, I'm the oldest. I can remember when it was just me and Dad. Now, I'm going to cry. I'm going to let you know right off the rip. I'm going to cry. I cried when Morris Chestnut got shot in Boys in the Hood. I'm going to cry. I know a lot of y'all cried when Morris Chestnut died, went to the funeral in Best Man Holiday, but I ain't the only one. But like I said before, my heart gets overjoyed because I realize how blessed I am. From birth all the way to now. That was my daughter. And my nieces and my nephews, you've seen them. He started. It was all thanks, Dad. All the way back when the first piano came in the house, we've been singing. And to the union, I remember the first day. I remember the first day I met this fella. Ever since. First day. Football. Go long. That was all it took. We've been feeding and bouncing back and forth off each other ever since. And it was, everybody say, we kind of like the Brady Bunch. We just came together. It was perfect, man. It was meant to be. And I'm thankful. I hear all of the fish stories. Alan, Dad. I think that one you got is the one I missed. I had him. That's the one I know I had him. He went around, he got all, Alan first one taught us how to, my first time I seen that boy, seen them shads, Alan first said, man, you hooked one of them shads. Alan hooked one of them shads. I'm looking down in the water. I seen the bass hit the shads. I struck out. Where you going? Buy some snatch hooks. And we've been at them ever since. And it's been like Vaughn was talking about that competition. I don't know now. I don't know, boy. I got some things up my sleeve. But Dad, I just want to say, I got I got a high school diploma. I got a degree in electronics. And I got an electrical license. And my dad never saw me walk across the stage because he showed me, I don't do it for glory. I do it so I can be like him, to be able to take care of my responsibilities. And one of the biggest things, I always just wanted to make you proud. That's all I ever wanted to do, was to make you proud. Let you know that, your work was not in vain. Now, I didn't do real good in school. And I'm going to tell this here story. Since we're talking about the gardener, I got a pretty bad report card one time. I said, man, I can't show this thing to my dad. Man, he going to whoop me. So I commenced to I ripped that thing up so small, a little bitty piece. I say, well, I ain't going to let him find it. So I go get a shovel out the shed, dig me a hole, bury it in the hole. He come home from work. He goes out to the shed. Says, I'm going to plant me a garden. And I'm going to plant it right here. I'm looking out the window. Hey, I know doggone well this man is not finna plant a garden right in the same spot or I done buried that report card. I'm looking out the window. No, not there. He go to tillavating the ground. Go to see I'm looking at him. Look at this paper. I see him piecing it back together. Say, Lord, have mercy. Now, Gina, remember what I did? I went and got me a towel, folded up, put it under my shorts because I knew it was over with now. So I finna get it. I was used to getting whoopings. Rest of what? I got them now. I got me some whoopings. Lo and behold, he put that thing together, and here it is. Troy! That's how I knew then. I said, oh, he done figured it out. But I put you through some things. But I want you to know it was not in vain. I'm still trying to be half the man that you are. Still trying to make you proud. Trying to be like you. I asked my brother to pull up that story for me. The prophet was talking about the fella who go out on Christmas and have him a drink, and his son would follow him. And that one Christmas, this little snow fell, about 6 inches of snow. And as he went from house to house, people say, have a little drink of this, a little drink of that. And he got to feeling a little right. And he walking home, and he looked behind, and his son was just wobbling and wheeling. And he asked his son, said, well, why are you walking like that? I'm trying to step in your footsteps. But I just messing on him. My dad didn't do no whole lot of drinking and carrying on. I'm still trying to step in your footsteps. But your footsteps, kind of just showed us how to do this thing. So I'm blessed, man. I know I'm blessed. From my granddaddy to my grandmama to all my aunties and uncles to my siblings to our precious friends. I'm blessed. And it all started with you, man. If I never get a chance, told you I was going to cry. I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you. I love you. Stay up there. Come on. Jack, can we do this now, Ma? Or you want to have words first? I want y'all to come on up. Trina, Vaughn, come on, man. We got a little something for you. It was tough because we trying to figure out what do we give the man who gave us so much. And I didn't seem sufficient. But we did the best we could, and we just want to give you a little something, a token of our appreciation, something for you to have, and to know that we love you. And what you mean to us, no, y'all gonna take this out, man. We spent a lot of money for this. And in them bags. We went to Jared. Sister Virginia, bring that camera. Yeah, let's do that now. And in this here, you see, we have all of our names engraved in the links. All our names engraved in the links. So you can't wear this in the garden. All right. You put this on, and you just let everybody know this is from my children and that we love you. You mean so much to us. Now, we want you to have a seat. And let Virginia get a good picture of that. Yeah, we went to Jared. Y'all get a shot of that, man. And many years ago, again, we was trying to figure out what to give our dad for. What was his birthday? Father's Day. Yeah. And we had a card, and we said, well, a card just wasn't enough. And I told you he put a piano in the house. And when he put that piano in the house, we've been singing ever since. As a group, we've been singing ever since. So we took the words of the card and turned it into a song. And we want to sing that song for you right now, Dad. We need the mic.
You know what this is, Daddy, and you know who signed it too. But you never ever guess how much love it brings to you. Trina.
Jacket. Troy.
You know what this is, Daddy, and you know who signed it too. But you never ever guess how much love it brings to you. Trina.
Jacket. Troy.
Trina.
Jackie. Troy. Amen. That's what he woke up to on that Father's Day. So, Mom, it's your chance and your turn. I'm through crying for a little bit. And that's it. Here, take this, please, before I say something else, start crying again.
Praise the Lord. I am just so full as I look out and see all the people that came to help us celebrate a good man. A good man that I love dearly. Just a little bit of what Rosevelt to some, Brother Burrs to others. About early in 2012, Brother Burrs was diagnosed with a very rare cancer of his voice box. Very long name, what have you. And it was the second time that he had been attacked by cancer, because a few years earlier, he'd had lung cancer, and he had surgery to have the right middle lobe removed. He recovered, but he went through some other health issues, and as time passed, he instituted some certain protocols that was different than what the traditional medicine would do. It was holistic treatment. And he became a client out there at Hippocrates Health Institute. That gave him a whole new lease on life, the lifestyle that he was introduced to. He was healed and picked up his regular life, enjoying what he does most, fishing and gardening. We traveled, just had a beautiful time together. And in early 2012, we just come back from a trip to Zimbabwe. First time my husband had gone out of the country with us. And we had a beautiful, beautiful time. But when he came back, he lost his voice. So after much encouragement, he went to the doctor. They ran tests, and he had surgery for his sinuses, and at the same time, they did a biopsy on his throat. And it was diagnosed that it was a very rare cancer that he had. And of course, they wanted to operate. And we had actually set a date for the operation. But my husband said, no, he wanted to try Hippocrates another time before he did that. So that was the course that we took. And he enrolled himself again into the Hippocrates program. Came through that really good, and he loved it so much. And he wanted to stay with that lifestyle so much that he volunteered his services to work out there so that he could stay close to the program. Well, he was told that they don't take volunteers out there for various reasons, and they hired him part-time to develop their organic garden because Hippocrates they ordered all of their veggies, the little things that they grew out, that they didn't have a garden. And he had a real heart for that. And once Mr. Clements and his wife heard about that, they hired him. He worked probably about a month part-time, then they moved into a full-time position. And he's been working out there, just touching lives out there, just the way he's touched your lives here. Matter of fact, we have 2 employees here now from Hippocrates. One lady works right beside him, Linda, Rick. So he was doing well, but he began to have complications again and went back to the doctor, have them test. And instead of getting better, it seemed like it had gotten worse. And this time, the surgeon said, we need to take your whole voice box out, not just a little bit. We need to take everything out. And she was very, very critical of the holistic movement, very critical. She said that they were wrong to even tell him that he could be healed that way. And it was a shaking moment for us, real shaking time. So he told me not to tell anybody, and I didn't. I just only talked to the Lord for a while. Just prayed about it. Had the surgery looking at us. So, after we stopped crying, I got on the internet, and I started doing some research. I said, I want to see what life is like for people who've had this kind of surgery. I want to see, because I didn't see much good coming from it. So I did. I started looking, and it just broke my heart at what was considered the success stories. It was heartbreaking, the lifestyle. I said, Lord, I don't want to see him go this route, but if he chooses this, I'll stand with him. I'll stand with him to do it. So he managed to come in the room back there with me as I was watching, and he quietly watched, and then he says, show me some success stories. I said, honey, these are the success stories. And we both just had a good cry. He said, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. A couple days later, I said, well, let me find some success stories of people that were treated holistically. And I found some, and we watched, and we saw some of the treatment interventions that they were doing for the same type of cancer that he was battling. And we made a decision right there, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this. And he confided in one of his coworkers of what he was going through, and she had a solution that was a very immediate area for us that we went through. And I won't outline all the modalities or anything right now. But coming up to today, Brother Burrs is cancer-free. Yes, he is cancer-free. We had gotten some of the results of his PET and CT scans, and we saw that the activity in his throat area, it was far less than it had been previous year. He had a visit to a stay at the hospital about a month ago now because of another problem that he was having. And they did another PET CT scan, and it confirmed what the other one had said as well. We saw 2 surgeons. One was a thoracic surgeon, And he was kind enough to hear our story, the route that we chose, because he could not understand. When he first came in the room one day, he was very negative, and he was very discouraged. I guess he thought that here's a man that's really not taking care of himself. He's not under doctor's care, and this is what's happening to him. And he had a real attitude. So I told him, I said, you can't compare the PET CT scan. Just look at what you see here. You need to look at the past PET CT scans and see the progress. So he says, well, you must pray better than I do, because it doesn't look good here, you know. I say, well, you got to see it. I say, as a matter of fact, I want to see the newest myself, because I want to see the comparison. But, you know, he never did get it to me. Anyway, he came back the next day. The Lord allowed him to come back the very next day. My brother-in-law was there. Our son Vaughn was there, and I think my brother was there at the first time he came. Second time he came running through the door. And he says, I don't understand this. He says, I can't wrap my arms around this. How does a man with stage 4 cancer, how could it be getting better? He says, I don't see that. I don't understand this. So he started talking a little bit more, and he come back to it. I don't understand this. I say, well, will you listen to what we have done for treatment? He said, yeah. He was humble. And we outlined everything, told him. He said, he comes back and he said, you know, I'm a religious man. He says, he said, man, I'm glad that you didn't let him operate on you and take your voice box. He said, I'm really glad. He said, I'm a surgeon, but the older I get, the more I understand that it's not pleasing to God for all of these ungodly surgeries that we're doing on people. He says it's not pleasing, not pleasing at all. He says, I've come to understand that what really matters is the quality of life. And all we could do is raise our hands, because that's what our decision was based on, the quality of his life after it was all done. Because frankly, you know, I trusted that God would take him through, but I did not think he could take the life after that surgery. I didn't think he could handle it. And I knew how drastically it would change our lives. So he made the decision, I'm not going to have the surgery. This doctor was so taken by it. It was his first real opportunity to see a miracle. And when he leaving the room, he says, I'm going to be praying for you. He came up and he shook our hands. He said, I'm going to be praying for you. You really impacted my life. Of course, we had another ENT come behind him and give a total different report. I won't go into all of that, but it was a negative report. From that, my husband decided to go back and have a repeat of a cancer profile that he had done in October. And it was a profile of 8 different tests to show if cancer showed up in your blood. And he had it done in October. There was only one area of concern that was elevated, even though it was not exceptionally high, but it was higher than it should have been. So my husband decided he wanted to go and be retested, because we're getting conflicting information. The PET CT scan, the pulmonologist, they're seeing improvement. The ENT is saying pretty much no hope. So he says, well, I'm going to go and have this test done. If it shows up that I'm still cancerous, then I'll just have to buckle down and do some more treatment, but I will not allow them to operate on it. We had the test done, came back just a week or two ago, and the previous year, in October, that particular test was reading 23.1. The norm was 0 to 3.0, so it was elevated. This time it came back. That same test was 0.6. 0.6. 0.6. God vindicated his decision to do it that way. You know, we serve a mighty God. He could have touched him with his hand and instantly healed him. But I know God's going to get so much more glory out of hearing his testimony. And it's going to give other people more hope that you don't have to take the doctor's word as the last word. You don't have to be rushed into decisions that they're not really based on you. They're based on their doctor's income. When the boil's down to it, they make a lot of money from all them surgeries, all those procedures, and all the chemo. They make a lot of money. And they're going to make money whether you live or die. So we just thank God for vindicating. He's going to talk a little bit more about it. His voice is being restored. When the tumor, with the tumor there, it paralyzed one of his vocal cords, and the other one was very weak. There were points of time my husband could hardly speak at all. So he has improved greatly and greatly. So I just want to sing this song to my husband because it's what we've been living. And since he's been going through with his treatments and what have you, that song has become more and more real to me. And I just want to sing it to you, honey. Mm-hmm. In my hardest trials, you stood there for me. Now I'm touched by the feeling of your infirmity. You think that your whole world's gone wrong. You wonder if you can carry on. You're not in this fire all alone. If you think you can't stand anymore, oh, I'll be standing for you. And you feel you can't bear your heavy load, I'll lift your hands up for you. Don't give up, don't give in. This battle we can win. I'll stand, I'll be standing for you. I've come to know it's trials that force us on our face. Troubles drive us to the altar, beseeching God for grace. Somehow He'll work this out for you. He needs a channel to flow through. Yield your heart and let Him start in you. If you think you can't stand anymore, oh, I'll be standing for you. And you feel you can't bear your heavy load, I'll lift your hands up for you. Don't give up, don't give in. This battle we will win. I'll stand, I'll be standing for you. You know, honey, I love you. I love you. I have seen such courage, such strength in you. I appreciate you. The decision you made has come out to God's glory. It was right. And I'll stand for you, honey. I'll continue to stand for you. He'll turn your mourning into dancing, your shouts of glee. Oh, lift your head, rejoicing, receive your victory. Oh, you've lost so much more. Jesus Jesus promised so much more he'll give you. He'll restore. If you think you can't stand anymore, oh, I'll be standing for you. Feel you just can't bear your heavy load, I'll lift your hands up for you. Don't give up, don't give in. This battle we will win. I'll stand, I'll stand, I'll be standing for you. Say, when you think you can't stand anymore, oh, I'll be standing for you. Feel you just can't bear your heavy load, I'll lift your hands up for you. Don't give up, don't give in. This battle we will win. I'll stand, I'll stand, I'll be standing for you. Said I'll be standing for you. I'll be standing for you.
Good evening, everyone. No, I'm not a person of many words, but I'll just try to say what's on my heart. I appreciate all my children. And in the words of my late mother, and when she comes into the house of God, I used to get jealous because she'll say, all my children. And she mean that. She had so many drafted in children. And times I would be jealous. But just yesterday we were shopping. Went to the store. Young lady gave her my card. Last name Burrs. I don't know these people. Burrs, do you know Mother Burrs? Mother can read the Burrs. She said, yeah, so that's his mother. Oh, they just go on and on and on about Mother Burrs. How she did this and how she did that for them. How she did for her grandchildren. How she did for her mother. And that's the type of person she was. Remind me of a story when I was very young. And show her passion. There was a man lived in front of us, and he had a mango tree. Peach mango, best mangoes in town. But he wouldn't let you get the mangoes. So I used to wait, stay up late at night before he go to sleep. I sneak out there, get mangoes. He always catch me. And he can put a cursing on you. And he talk real loud. Everybody in the neighborhood know that you've been trying to get Mr. Mike mangoes. So then I try to get up early in the morning, get the jump on him. He's still watching that tree. So the old man got sick. And I think he had prostate cancer. I was kind of young. Mama used to go over and wash his bedclothes and take him food. And then she would get us to carry water to put in the washing machine. We had a ring of washers outside. Tubs all around it. So she had told me that Friday she wanted me to fill up the washing machine and the tubs. I knew she finna wash the man clothes. And I didn't want to do it. So that Saturday morning I got up. It's a little, another mango tree that still had mangoes on it. I used to love to climb trees. So she had told me that yesterday, and she had told me again that morning. And when she called again, I was in the top of the tree reaching for the mango. And the young lady was down there waiting for him. I was dropping them too. And I heard her call, Rosevelt. Yeah, I'm coming, Mama. So, and I knew that was the third time she told me she don't forget. And her rule was 3 strikes, you're out. So as I got down at the mango tree, we had an Australian pine tree not too far from the house. She had really cut one of those pine trees down with a switch. Very limited, wouldn't break. And when I was hanging on the limb, and when I dropped, she was right behind me. So you got to obey me. You got to do this. And one thing about her, when she's spanking you, she'll say, this hurt me more than it hurt you. And I'm saying to myself, then stop hitting me. So, and some of her words, she'll say, you got to obey me. And she said, I love you. Say, I love you unconditionally. But I want other people to love you too. And she'll go and start hitting again. But she always helped people. You couldn't tell her enemies from her friends. And as I grow up, and I marvel after all the people that she've helped, and all the people that came to her for help, and she've helped. We used to take people to the grocery store. I remember when I first started driving, I really loved to drive the car, but she would have me taking sick people to the doctor, people that didn't have transportation to the grocery store, just what type of person she was. And, you know, when you grow up, you said, a young man, he looked for the type of wife that his mother was. A young lady looked for the type of husband that their father was. And I thank God that I married a woman just like my mother. She's always happy. She goes into hospice. She's helping everybody. And I love her so much. She's just like my mother. Not that she has my mother, but I'm so proud of her. As far as the healing goes, as I go through this struggle, when I had my blood test, the first one I had done, it shows like all your markers where they are. Your cholesterol, your good cholesterol, your bad cholesterol, and some of those was out. And as my blood improved, so did my health. So that tell me the life is really in the blood. And not only my blood, but the blood of Jesus. That it's never lost its power. And it never will. As I understand more about what's happening inside the body, the T cells, the fighter cells, the red cells, and how it attacks germs and disease and cancers and stuff. And it reminds me of Joshua. That said we're well able to take the land. But people that wasn't murmuring about it, God had them to run around in the wilderness until that generation die off. And when you eat the right foods and you do the right things to build your blood, tell me every 7 years your body generate all new cells. You're a different person than you was 7 years ago. So, all of this time, my blood been making a new me that is able to fight diseases. Once I stop eating the king's food, like Daniel, no Burger King, no McDonald's, no aspartame, and your body would build the right cells to fight off disease. I just want to thank each and every one of y'all. So, with that due, I give the mic over. One more time.
These are the prayer requests that we put in when we found out about Brother Burrs' problem. This one's from me. Praying for complete healing for Brother Burrs, either through surgery or divine healing. At that time, it was early. I hadn't moved away from the surgery, but as time passed, surgery was out of the question. Mm-hmm. Brother Burrs had put in a request that my voice would return to me, and I will use it for the glory of God. I want to tear them up. Give him the jack, I guess.
Here at the church, we got the cross that we put over there. We did a play, and after the play, we didn't know what to do with this cross. And someone had the idea to put that in the corner, and we would take our prayer requests. Yeah, my dad actually built the cross. And we had what we decided to do is take our requests that we had before the Lord and nail them to the cross. And the challenge was when God answered the prayer, then take it off the cross. So what you saw today is God answered 2 prayers. And if you got something up on the cross, you ought to get faith to believe that you're going to tear it down. Everything that go up will come down. My. So what you all heard, and I mean, you might be hearing just my dad whispering, but he actually couldn't talk. So sometimes you don't have to wait until everything comes back. You just need to start praising God. I believe the prophet said, I see a cloud the size of a man's hand, and I know it's going to rain.